Hello.
My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is Labras, your favorite video podcast. It's slightly funny except today. Because today,
Deadly serious.
we're covering Sean's new book.
The Absolute Beginner's Guide to Mac OS 10 Leopard. Actually, I have no book on this, but we're gonna cover it anyways.
Yay, Mac. So this is the new Leopard, the new Mac OS 10, which is technically Mac OS 14, isn't it?
It's I guess depending on how you're counting. So it's 10.5, but it's a reasonably big upgrade from the last one. A bunch of stuff underneath the hood has changed. I mean, we're not going to go into that detail, but we're going to show off some of the new features anyways.
Okay, good.
And some of my little quirks at the end, the things that bug me about it.
Okay, can I talk about all the things that bug me throughout the whole episode?
You do that every single episode.
Okay, all right. Let's take a break when we come back. Mac OS 10 Leopard, how exciting!
Woohoo!
If a bunny was the new Camtasia Studio 5, it would be the fastest, it would be the smartest, and you would love it. The new Camtasia Studio 5, screencasting software that's better than a bunny. Download it at www.techsmith.com.
I'm not sure if I want to do this episode.
Yeah, I already know you don't. But you know what? People have been asking.
I know.
And it's a brand new operating system.
My gift to you, you Apple fans.
Does that mean you're not going to make snarky comments throughout this episode?
No.
It's not much of a gift.
Okay. Fewer snarky comments.
All right.
Okay, Mac OS 10 Leopard, yay!
Yes.
I actually wore my Leopard underwear today too.
Did you? Good.
Yep.
Good. We'll show those in the bloopers. So we wanted to cover off a few major things. They claim that there's 300 new features in Leopard. You know, that's marketing speak, of course, for we've got a few new features and a couple of little tweaks to other things. So we're not going to go through all 300. We're going to go through a couple of major points here. Yeah, so most of them are kind of uninteresting. Some of them are little security tweaks. Some of them are, you know, like they've a fully POSIX compliant operating system underneath now. So they've always been Unix based, but now they can actually run Unix applications that are POSIX. So
should I go ooh at this point?
No, I mean this is one of these things. It's a feature, you know. It's sort of the underpinning of the whole operating system has changed just a little bit, and that's why a lot of things aren't quite working the way they used to. So the one thing I will say right up front is if you're thinking of upgrading, back up all your data first. You know, there are a few things that don't necessarily work, and you might have to go back. So
okay.
So onward and upward. So
Leopard.
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to show off here was the new dock, and we have it over on the right side. So it's a little bit different, and you know what? It's not 100% awesome there, which is one thing I found out. It's a little quirk that I mentioned. So we're going to put it on the bottom here. Yeah. And when you put it on the bottom, you'll see that it actually has a reflective surface on it. And it's tilted slightly, so it's got a little bit of sheen to it. And this is running even on an integrated graphics set. So,
so it's prettier.
It's a little bit prettier. The bar on the top is translucent, so you can see a little bit through it. It's little things like that. It's sort of replicating a little bit of.
Does that make you happy?
What you'll see with Aero Glass interface on Vista.
Yeah. Is that just because they're like trying to copy Aero Glass?
Yeah, a little bit. But you know, it works on lower end graphics cards, so you don't have to upgrade your system to do this. It's an aesthetic change. In that case. The one thing that they have done here that is different is what they call stacks. So you have a section with your applications on the dock, and then you have a lower section that you can put documents and other things into, drag it into, and if you drag a folder, it'll create what's called a stack. So when you click on it, it'll actually fan it out if it's just a small group of things. Or if you have a large group of things, like my download folder here. I actually had someone complain earlier about the messiness of my desktop. Oh, you got too much stuff up on there. This is one of the things that you can do to sort of cut down on your desktop. And the one really nice thing about this is my downloads folder. In the past, it would actually put all your downloads onto the desktop. Now it'll put it into this folder to keep them off of the desktop like it was before.
Nice tweak.
So that is a really nice tweak.
It's almost as nice as Aero.
It is almost as nice as Aero. And the one thing about this one right here is the stacks don't fan when you have it on your dock positioned on the side, and the translucency goes away.
Okay.
So it's just an aesthetic choice because of the orientation of the screen that they made. So if you want the fanning, put your dock on the bottom.
Okay, good.
So that's that for that. So the one thing that we're not able to show off on this machine right here, on the Finder.
Yes.
There's a couple of tweaks they made, largely aesthetic. So that's the one thing. So the one really killer feature that is in Leopard is something called Time Machine. Now we've talked a lot about backing up, and most people just don't bother. And they'll get an external hard drive, and then they'll do it a little bit, and then they'll stop thinking about it. Because most backup products that you can get aren't very friendly, and you don't want to have to deal with it on them for the most part. So Time Machine solves that problem for Mac users. When you have an external drive and you plug it into the machine, it'll say, do you want to configure this as a Time Machine drive? And when you say yes, it'll configure it and then automatically start backing up all your data to it. But the killer feature here is every time you make a change to a document, it'll back that up too. And it'll back up all the iterations of that file through time.
It's like Windows Vista.
Right. Did Vista keep all of the...
Yeah, it has incremental backup.
Incremental backup?
On the high end, on the Ultimate, I think it is.
All right. Well, this will do it on any of the versions, of which there really are only one. So what you do is if you decide that if you discover that you lost a file, you can go back in time. So you go over to your Time Machine, and it'll give you this little cheesy graphic of going back into time through a time warp, and then you can just zip backwards through time until you find that file.
Right.
And then once you find that file, to recover it, you just hit restore, and away you go.
So if you get to go all the way back, is there Stephen Hawking going, no, 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 end of time?
Yes, more or less. The nice thing is you've got Spotlight on here, which will search through your Mac. You can actually search backwards through time when you're in Time Machine. So if you remember the name of the file but you can't find it on your system, not only can you search on your drive right now, you can actually search the iterations back through time and then bring it back.
Very nice.
And it'll work that way for your contacts, it'll work that way for your mail, it'll work that way for any of the built-in applications.
What about naughty pictures you might have on your computer?
Sure, anything that you deleted. So if you have other people using your system, you want to be really careful that you seriously delete that. And you can actually delete all of the reverse iterations of that back through time.
You can actually go get rid of, make sure that file never shows up again.
Yeah, and that's something that you could use for your naughty pictures. But you can also use it, say you're working in a work environment and you have a document that you absolutely don't want to be used because it violates some sort of usage
like if you're flirting with the gal in accounting?
Or email. Or something like you're creating
Dear Susan, you're sexy, send.
Or you're creating a business proposal, for example, that has some licensed images that you absolutely don't want to get out there by mistake.
Got it.
So for legal issues, there you go.
Fun, Leopard.
Yeah.
I like it, Spot, so far.
All right. Well, okay.
So far it's good.
Yeah. So the one thing about Time Machine that I will point out is that you need this external hard drive to do that, either on a notebook or...
Is it special Apple branded?
Nope. No. You don't need an Apple brand. You can use... all you need is one, and you can use another internal drive if you've got a Mac Tower as well. So all you need is one that's bigger than the one that you're backing up, because it'll back up not only the drive, but all the extra bits as well. So there you go.
So here you have, what, a 60 gig, and this is like an 80 gig or something? Or?
Yeah, so this is 160 and this is 250, but just whatever your combination is, just make sure the external or additional Time Machine drive is but larger.
Okay. So far, with all those extra things so far, like if you didn't know it, would you now pay $120 and be happy? Or would you say that that's only a couple of extra
Well,
things?
you know, a lot of people would pay $100 just for a good backup solution, so...
Apple people would.
Yes. Well, you know what? Let's add a couple extra things here. So one of the nice
things...
things...
for value here, right?
Yeah. So one of the nice things, because you have it based on a Unix solution, is it has built into this Unix legacy the ability to handle multiple virtual desktops. And they have taken that in Leopard and given it a new little tweak and called it Spaces. So what you can do is you can just go through your virtual spaces here. So I've got one thing open here. I can move over to my second one, zip back and forth between those things, go down here.
Is it just in different desktops?
Different desktops, and you can set it up in a grid of 4 by 4 if you like. If you have multiple monitors on your system, it would be 4 by 4 times however many monitors you have.
Ooh.
So you would, and I've got this set up at home. I've got a dual desktop, so I'll drop in a little clip of that here, showing 2 monitors in a grid of however many. Okay, so now I've got this. Now when you want to move things from space to space, you just hit F8 or whatever hotkey you set up, and then drag one from one desktop to the other.
Bill Gates, are you paying attention here? This is cool. This is a really good feature to steal for Vista 2nd Edition.
So there you go. So now you can just
Attention, Mr. Gates.
you can just flip through to all of these different things.
Yes. Linux. No, we love
Yeah.
Linux.
Well, there you go. Well, that's exactly, Gary, why they've gotten into this is because it has been possible in the world of Linux for years, and now they've made it possible here. And the one really nice thing about this as well is you can go into your system preferences, go into spaces when it pops up, and you can actually assign certain applications to certain spaces. So if you've got a 2x2 grid, you can say that this one will always pop up in space number 1, always pop up in space number 2. So if you work in a regular way all the time, then you can be sure of knowing where this application is going to pop up.
I love this application. This is phenomenal.
And
I might even buy a new Mac.
you always say that, but you never do. And the really nice thing about this one as well is you have the ability to lock it into a certain space, but have it also put into every space. So for something like iChat, if you're searching around, but you also want to talk with people at the same time, you can now go around and your chat window stays in exactly the same place.
That is clever.
So
I might buy a new Mac, absolutely. That is cool, though. That is cool.
You're such a wiener. All right, so the one thing I do want to show off, you talked about this in Vista, and now it's also been added into Leopard, is something called parental controls.
Ah, yeah.
And
this is where you control the children control the parents and what they see on the internet. Mm-hmm. Right.
And they did have this rudimentary version of this built into the previous version of the operating system, Tiger. It didn't allow you to lock it down by they can't play this type of content. They can use it by this number of hours, or a certain number of hours in the evening, or it's their bedtime at 9 o'clock, so they stop getting access at that time.
You cut off.
Yeah. So
Sorry, no more.
You can do that now. You didn't used to be able to before. Before you could control it strictly by this user can only access these applications.
What was it called before?
It was just strictly access control under your user menu. So, and then you can control it again in here by the various.
So enhanced parental control.
Right. So I've got Labrat right now, who's my other user. So I would click on Labrat and then modify his ability to
change his bedtime.
Exactly.
Filter his web usage, things like that. Can you filter like web usage and time limits and things like that?
Yes, you can do all of those things. The same things you can do in other things. So,
like on Vista.
Like on Vista. So this is becoming more like Vista every single day. So we'll go into the Finder again. The one thing I do want to show off that's really nice is something called Quick Look. So when you're in any mode or any folder.
Quick Look.
Yes. So you can actually preview a document just by clicking on space on it, and it'll actually open up a preview of the document.
So you don't have to load up an entire document.
Exactly. Oh, my iTunes is going now. So and again, you can just press the space, and if you have a PDF document that has multiple pages, you can bring that up and actually scroll through the different documents in your folder, or you can scroll through the different pages in the document as well using Quick Look. And you also have cover flow mode where you can actually, like on iTunes, right? So you can scroll through.
All right.
Anyway, so you can scroll through your documents and see the previews. So if you know what the document looks like but can't remember what it's called, you can zip through it that way as well.
That's awesome.
And the last thing I want to talk about is Boot Camp. You remember in the previous version.
Is this Boot Camp 2?
No, it was Boot Camp Beta before. So it's now finalized. You can put it 1.0. And it's built into the operating system, so you can carve out a portion of your hard drive for Windows, or you can use a separate hard drive inside your system. Right.
So you're popping. So you actually can run, a Windows 98 or XP or a Vista on your Mac now. So for those of you that might be thinking about a new laptop in the new year, and you want to stick with Windows, but you really love Apple, now it's getting mature now. It's not just a geek thing anymore, right?
No,
it's getting relatively easy to do.
And that's one of the things. I know you make fun of Mac a lot, and some people just don't like it. But the reality of having a machine like this now that will run Windows and Mac is that it'll also run Unix. So it's a great programming machine too. So having one of these things will allow you to experiment in all three of these areas.
Now I haven't made the jump yet myself. Primarily because there are still bugs. Like sometimes Windows will crash in it, and there's some issues. I don't think it's quite perfect yet, But certainly, all the geeks jumped on board initially. Now more people who are feeling more comfortable doing this. But it's not a perfect replication yet. But I think that probably next year and moving forward, it might get easier, right? And better as they release new versions of Boot Camp.
Well, Boot Camp itself is actually pretty good right now. The issue is really the drivers. And one of the nice things that I will mention about the driver's disc is before with Boot Camp, you had to burn your own driver's disc. Now if you have the OS X Leopard disc, you just pop that in, and when you're in Windows mode, it'll say, do you want to install the Boot Camp drivers? It's smart enough to realize you don't want to install Mac over top of that.
Okay, cool. All right, are we going to talk about things you hate?
A few things that I do hate, yes.
After this break?
After the break.
After the break. After the break, why Sean hates Mac OS X Leopard.
I loathe it.
All right, well, now we get to find out why it sucks from Sean.
Yes, so there's a couple quirks. First of all, I would suggest to a lot of people, back up first of all, but if you have the option to do it, install it clean. Don't upgrade Leopard. We upgraded a number of machines around the office at work in Vancouver, and everyone seemed to have these weird little bugs. But as soon as you wipe the drive clean and install from scratch, it's fine. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that you've got these old applications on the system that are optimized for Tiger.
I think you're being too hard on it.
Oh, yeah.
That's not fair. Apple's perfect.
They are perfect in every single way. One of the little bugs that I found is here in the Wi-Fi detection is if you upgrade, everyone that I know who's upgraded, when they click on this, only one network shows up, the one that they're on.
Yeah.
And when they try to find other networks using the Show Other Networks command, nothing shows up.
Okay.
When you install clean, it comes up the way it should be.
So that's just a weird quirk.
That's a little weird quirk, right? So I mean, something like that will probably be fixed with a little little tweak or an update. Yeah. And there has been an update. I haven't tested it since the update came out, 10.5.1. Okay. The one thing that I really don't like about the way that they've set this up now is we're in the Finder right now, and we've got things along the sidebar. We've got Devices, Places, and Search For. Search For is kind of nice. It'll allow you to see what you looked for recently in Spotlight. Places is where I want to go typically when I'm using the Finder. So my desktop, my applications,
The Finder's like Windows Explorer, right?
It's like Windows Explorer. This is how you interact with your machine. Okay. So you've got your Mac HD at the top. So in my computer, that would be the equivalent of your C drive.
Right.
And then iDisk is a virtual disk online that you can use with .Mac.
And, your Time Machine
and then my Time Machine, any other external drives. Places will be, again, your desktop and the folders that are on your system that you use regularly, like applications. Here's the thing, is it'll automatically put shared folders into this. So if we've got a number of other machines around the network, they'll also show up under shared. The thing I really don't like about the design of this is that it'll actually put it over top of Places. So if you're in a network where you've got 16 other Macs, bam, it'll throw all of the things that you want to get to regularly right off the bottom of your Finder bar. Now, as they say,
right-click and reorganize it?
You can't, unfortunately, right-click that one, and that one's something they're probably going to have to address so that you can reposition that. They're very good, usually, with the ability to customize your toolbars, and you can actually hit that to minimize it, but you shouldn't have to do that every single time. I might still want to get to my shared folders without having to,
so the user interface guys at Apple were hung over that day.
They put the preference on other computers on the network over your own computer, which I think is a big mistake.
Right. Okay.
And that's largely it for.
So not too many criticisms.
There's a number of tiny little ones. I'm not going to bog down with all of those little things. I don't like the fact that when you try to play a media file in column mode, beforehand you would have the option to actually preview it and use your slider.
Yeah.
Now you just got stop and start. But the nice thing about that is you can actually use Quick Play and bring it up in a window that will actually play it.
Preview it.
It'll preview it. So now you can do it this way instead, and do your slider like that. So it's a little bit different, but that's something that you just have to get used to in every operating system when they upgrade it. There's those little tweaks that they do that sort of mess with the way you
used to
work.
it after a while, right? Okay.
Right.
All right.
And I think that's largely the major ones.
Now we have pictures coming up, but before we do, so this costs what, $120 US-ish?
It costs $129.
$129.
And the one really nice thing that they do with all of these is, sorry, Henry, you'll have to wait a second. The one nice thing that they do is if you have multiple computers in your home that you want to upgrade at the same time, $199 will cover 5 machines.
Bill Gates, are you listening to this?
Yeah, so that's one thing that I really love about them is it's cheap. You get, for $129, the Ultimate Edition, everything that you can possibly get. They don't put it into little various boxes that will confuse the hell out of you when you try to figure out which one do I need. Because if you bought the $129 version of Vista, you would not be happy at all. And if you got the one that has everything you need, it's what, $450?
Yeah, something like that, stupid.
I mean, you could...
For the full version. It's
yeah, so for that, you could license, over 10 machines on
you could
Leopard.
license a small African nation for that price.
Potentially.
It's true.
So
Okay.
the pricing is hard to beat.
Pricing is hard to beat. Good. Finally, out of 5, how many stars do you give it?
You know what? Because of the quirks at the beginning, I give it 4. I think a lot of the extra features they added in there, like Time Machine, just the ability to automatically back up all your stuff without having to think about it, I think that really takes it all the way up to that 4 easily.
So recommended upgrade?
It's a recommended upgrade if you back up your machine first.
Right.
Yeah, because I said there's the little tweaks. If you have anything that will only work on Tiger, obviously don't do it.
Right. And I highly recommend Bill Gates get a copy so you can copy it so you can make it in Vista 2.0 better.
I agree.
Good.
Anything that can make Vista better is a good thing.
That's right. All right, so pictures. Picture time.
Pictures.
Picture time.
All right,
Picture
now we've
time.
finally gotten to Hani. And he's from Delft in the Netherlands, and he's just graduated from LabRats 101.
Very good. We'll be sending your diploma shortly.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
All right.
Hani from the Netherlands.
Yes.
Very good.
And this is Sean from Dayton, Ohio.
He's a very nice name.
He does have a very nice name.
Right.
So he apologizes for not showing us himself face on, but at least he's in the shot.
That's true. Thank you very much, Sean.
Yeah, and he got this digital SLR after seeing one of our episodes on digital SLRs.
Ah, good man.
So thank you so much.
Great to hear. Okay, good. Is it S-E-A-N or S-H-A?
No, it's S-H-A-W-N.
All right, which is the bad way to spell it, right?
In this case, I'll let it go.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, you can send your pictures to us at
feedback@labrats.tv.
All right, well, that's it for another episode of LabRats. Thank you so much for taking the time and using all your bandwidth to download us.
You were very good today, by the way.
Wasn't I well behaved?
Yes.
Good, Andy. Good, Andy.
I'm hoping to get like a new Mac in next year maybe. Okay. All right, that's it. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
We'll see you next time.
Are you ready?